Hi, today we are visiting Abshire Cemetery in Nile Township, Scioto County, Ohio. And right now we're walking down Upper Twin Rocky Fork so that we can walk up here and visit Abshire Cemetery. The reason for our visit today is we had previously visited this cemetery in 2017 to add it to Google Maps as part of the Google Street View project, where we were documenting cemeteries in Scioto County. Well, recently, a lot of these cemeteries were purged from Google Maps, including Abshire Cemetery and the corresponding Street View photographs, which are 360-degree photographs, which are a great resource because it lets people know the exact, the precise location of a cemetery. And when you see rural cemeteries such as Abshire, you'll realize the importance of it, because come summertime from the highway, you would never see this cemetery. And for people that are coming to visit family members and do genealogical work, or who are just interested in cemetery preservation, knowing the location of something that you're trying to look for is pretty important. And when it comes to preservation, knowing where a cemetery is at, such as if you're working on electrical right-of-ways and clearing trees, knowing that this is a cemetery and not just an arrangement of upright field stones is pretty important. Because for the most part, that's what we find when we visit cemeteries such as this. Large granite objects or markers or zinc markers are a rarity. At best, sometimes we'll find marble markers such as this one. But we'll start with Abshire's namesake here on the northern end of the cemetery. These markers are all facing west. So we're thinking that the orientation is this is the headstone, and that the burials would have faced this way, east, uphill, with footstones arranged behind them. And here we have, I think this is Rebecca, wife of Jacob Abshire, who died April 5th, 1878, age 45 years. And this would have been a marble marker. We'll come down this way, and we have James Abshire. Looks like he was born March 3rd, 1862, and died, what do you think that says, Amanda? It looks like it starts with a J.
July.
Oh.
It looks like July 3rd, 1856.
Okay, so maybe born 1852 and died 1856?
Yeah.
Okay. That would make more sense. And then as we go down the row, we see that we have a footstone right here. And we weren't able to discern a headstone, but from what we can tell, we have a marble marker here with a slotted base and a marble marker here with a slotted base. So it would be strange to have all these marble markers with a slotted base and a similar arrangement of footstones. So we're missing a marker here, but we do have a footstone. Amanda's already done a reading on this marker. We're going to make the assumption, based on the headstone style and the base style and the footstone style, that this is also an Abshire, possibly a child. Well, we said 11 years old.
Yeah.
But we can see where a repair's been done using cement. And unfortunately, that cement was put on really thick, and it ran directly through the name. So we were able to read the date, so maybe we'll be able to find some corresponding information from death certificates, or maybe there's been a previous reading for this cemetery. So we have that marker. And then we have the corresponding footstone. Now remember, over here we said headstone and footstone should be there, but we have footstones out front here. So the only way that would make sense is if there were headstones here and we're not seeing those. And we come in a straight line. We have kind of an open area. This is another interesting one. I've seen angle iron used. This is for Rhoda, wife of Robert Young, and she died November 23rd, 1879. Now, I've seen them broken before, and they will kind of sandwich the edges with angle iron, or they'll even run bolts through them. This one looks like they've used a cement repair in the middle, and then they've created a cement frame around it. It's kind of a mix between setting them in wet cement and using angle iron. So it's the first time I've seen that type of repair. We go down further, and here we are, we're getting into some of the field stones. Some of them look like they may have writing, and some of them may just be wishful thinking on our part.
Yeah.
But we know that they're burials based on their distance from the other burials that are known, their arrangement with the headstone and footstone, and then like cavitation between the areas where the grave would have collapsed over time. So we have this one. We come down a little bit further, and it looks like we might have had a grave here, but this is, for what we can see here, is being kind of overgrown. This is really clear. So the grave markers or grave marker that was here is probably gone now, because we walked this way and we're immediately back into have another either headstone or footstone there. We have a headstone there. And if we talk about headstone and footstones, imagine that being headstone, and then this distance to the footstone. So it's at least 8 feet, so it's probably an adult burial. We come a little bit further, and here we have a much shorter burial. So we have a headstone, and right here, covered in moss, we have a footstone. And that's probably only about 5 feet. And we get a good close-up of the headstone. And after spending a day of looking at headstones that had been hand engraved with small chisels or even nails onto field stones, you'll see what I mean about, are we wishful thinking that we're finding the name or even a date or an initial. Here we have another, probably youth burial, only about 5 feet in between. We have a headstone. Oh, there it is. Yeah, we can see it. Can you see it right here? See that?
Yeah.
That looks like an E, P. So we know that we have patents that were at McGall Cemetery. And then if we look further down, we might have to get the D2 out of the car and a soft bristle brush, and we can see if we can at least have this damp, and that so the inscription holds the moisture, so we have some contrast, especially over here where that's kind of been grown into. And then maybe down in there's some, because it looks like they've carved the date down here at the bottom. But that's a great find. But that starts with an E and then P. That looks like PE. So we'll have to find out who this is. But we have right here the footstone, and it's only about, 4 to 5 feet distance in between. So being able to find a name would be huge, because so often these kids, they were this small, they would have missed censuses unless they would have been born right near one. So we'll walk our way down here. A Another stone that's just kind of by itself. I don't see a footstone for it. But again, these could have migrated over time. Another. And then we have the back row. And we have probably a footstone there. And here we have the upright headstone. And then we go down further. And we have this stone. And another one that's kind of perplexing. Is this the headstone and that's the footstone? Or is that the headstone, that's a footstone, and that's another burial? So, don't really know, but these are, we're going to assume, burials. And we say that because, again, if we get in really close. Does anyone else see that letter N? So, is it possible that, this is just a footstone, or maybe that's all they used to mark the grave? Again, we're at Abshire Cemetery in Nile Township, Scioto County, Ohio. We're gonna go ahead and hop off here for now and go see if we can read this headstone. We'll let you know how it turns out. Bye.